welcome back to Access Anime. I'm Henshin Ikeda, and today I'll be doing a walkthrough review of Blast of Tempest Episode 4. Now, if you remember from the last episode, we see Yoshino and Maharo. They escape Natsumore thanks to the government helicopters taking out the tunnel. So it was kind of a stalemate because Maharo didn't defeat Natsumoro, and Matsumoro is still alive. So Natsumoro, we don't know where he's at in this new episode, but I believe he's still going after the boys. Now, we also still don't know Yoshino's deal he made with Miss Yamamoto. That's gone unanswered for 2 episodes now, so we don't know what that little deal they made was. We also find out who Kei's has identified who the killer possibly is to Maharo's sister, Aki. Apparently the killer's from the Kasarabi clan, but we don't know who it is yet. Just putting that out there, we don't know. But it does give you a little more to go on who they're going to go after next in the series. More members of the Kasarabi clan, probably. Now let's just dive right into this episode. Again, I'll keep my comment and my rating at the end of the clip, so stay tuned. But let's dive right in. We open up this episode at a bus stop. Kind of interesting. We see Yoshino and Maharo get off the bus, literally in the middle of nowhere, and they enter into what looks like a temple. You see temple stairs. Just before they go up the stairs, they see 2 boys playing. So kind of like they reminisce, remember, Yoshino and Maharo's past. They see these 2 boys playing, and these 2 boys are carefree. They don't care what's going on right now, the world, all this war and crap that's happening doesn't faze them. And we also see, apparently, it looks like an old couple that are passing by, and that was a little later on in the cutscene. I jump ahead, but we see Yoshino and Maharo approaching the temple, and apparently they're at the temple just to get Kei's talismans. This was another location where they could get the talismans. Now, we don't know what Yoshino had. It was in a little pouch, so these are new talismans. We don't know what they are. Now, just when they exit the temple, Yoshino sees butterflies, and then Maharo sees butterflies, so they instantly know the next fruit or monster is going to appear soon, which was sent by the Kasarabi clan, which was those big looking eyeballs with chains hooked up to them. And I guess they noticed it, and they jumped down the mountain slightly, and Yoshino, he's being a Boy Scout, he sees like an old couple, and he gives them the heads up, hey, you guys should get out of here, the black iron syndrome's gonna hit you guys. Apparently, if you have a talisman around your finger or on you, and you have people around you, they're unaffected. But, these old people just, yeah, okay, they shrug it, keep walking. Now, sadly, those kids that were playing in the field, they were hit with the black syndrome, so they're no longer alive. They're, metallized. Now, we see the fruit, which is the monster that the Kasarabi clan resurrects every few episodes. It's coming straight out of the mountain. Now, that's all we really see. We don't see it defeated or anything like that. These guys, Yoshino and Maharo, they don't take it on. We just see them apparently going to an abandoned house that was hit by the black syndrome, and they're going to stay there the night. Now, it's like they make themselves at home, at least Maharo does. He tries, obviously he gets naked and he jumps into the shower, or in this case, a hot bath. And at the same time, Kei's is talking to Yoshino the whole time this is happening, and she's getting closer to Yoshino. She wants to know more of what makes him tick and his relationship to Maharo. How did they meet? And this was kind of interesting. We find out how these guys became friends. He says around elementary school, but they still weren't friends. Apparently, everyone treated Maharo differently when he was growing up because of how influential his father was. One day he was actually hit by, it looks like a mugger on a motorcycle, and he went to the hospital with broken bones, and apparently Yoshino was picked out of the class to go to the hospital with his teacher to comfort him. Now, they're still not friends, but after the teacher leaves to get Maharo a drink, because Maharo wanted a drink, they become not friends but acquaintances, and apparently Maharo asks Yoshino, I want you to find information about the person who put me in the hospital. And it's weird that I would even ask this. Even as a child, Maharo was like a genius. I mean, not like a genius, like super smart, but I mean, he was on his toes. He knew exactly what he wanted and what he wanted done. He wanted to make sure whoever took him out was taken out in general. So now you have Yoshino. He's a kid, 3rd grade, something like that, like a little kid, younger than 12. He researches all this information on the guy that took out Muharo, who was on the bike, and it's weird. It's got a mystery. I kind of like this. It's like in the middle of a great anime series, we got a mystery. Oh, it just gets better. And anyways, they're still not friends, but apparently Yoshino's able to make the connection on why the mugger took Muharo out. And Muharo was like, I felt this guy in this motorcycle had a bloodlust when he hit me. Like, he didn't do it intentionally, he did it purposely. Like, he had a motive. Now we find out what this motive actually was. Apparently the driver that was Muharo's driver, I guess he has a grudge against Muharo's father, because apparently he was fired or let go, and he was friends with this mugger, and apparently this mugger didn't really mug someone on purpose. Well, didn't mug someone for money or anything. He mugged someone on purpose just so he'd have a reason to run over Muharo and probably killing him. So we find out everything's slightly connected. Now we really, in this anime series, particularly in this episode, that's all we know as of now on their relationship and how they became closer. In this episode, we don't get closure on what happened to the mugger or anything like that. It was just a small little mystery that it was solved, but we don't know the end result. But anyway, suffice to say, Yoshino really didn't want to be friends with Muharo, but to get back at Muharo for having his teacher bring him and being forced to actually take care of Muharo. When Muharo got better and they're in class, he writes this story about Muharo, how he saved a puppy, and how then he wanted Yoshino to take care of the puppy and find its owner and whatnot. And now everyone's being soft to Muharo, because beforehand Muharo was carefree, no one really liked him. Now everyone felt more comfortable around him. They started try to become friends with him, but Muharo got more, thick-headed and didn't want people around him. And I guess this is how Yoshino and Muharo kind of became friends. And then later on in the episode, Muharo admits to Hukei's, if it wasn't for because of Yoshino, he probably wouldn't be where he is right now. So that was kind of nice. Now, after the end of Hokei's and Yoshino talking, we get looks like they're going to sleep now. You have Yoshino in one sack and Muharo in another sack. They're in sleeping bags actually, and I guess Muharo slips out after Yoshino passes out. Even though Yoshino, it looks like he was about to say something, but we don't know what. I think he was about to tell Muharo about Muharo's sister, how they were dating, but that doesn't come out because apparently Muharo falls asleep, but then later wakes up and he sneaks out to get some water, and he's talking to Hokei's now through that little talisman, and Hokei's is asking the same questions she asked Yoshino, and then eventually tells Muharo, yeah, I asked the exact same question, I know the story. Then Muharo's like, well, then why are you asking? But that's kind of where we ended. But there was a little catch to how this ended, because remember those two boys that now have the Black Iron Syndrome? Well, at the beginning of the episode, Yoshino gave them his umbrella and, felt bad that he couldn't save them in time. Now, at the end of the episode, you see Muharo, because he went to a vending machine. Instead of, he usually breaks stuff in this series, he uses money, and Hokei's was shocked that he was using money to buy a drink. And Muharo's like, well, if I break the machine, I don't know what I'm going to get. So he takes water, he goes to those little boys with the Black Iron Syndrome, he puts water down and walks away. Now at this point in time, we don't know how Hokei sees Muharo, whether she thinks he's soft or still a carefree person. But it was just like, this is his soft spot. This was him reminiscing about his childhood, him and Yoshino. I guess they actually saw themselves in these boys, how they were carefree. But that's where the actual episode ends. Now, final thoughts. We still don't know the deal that Yoshino made with Miss Yamamoto. Plain and simple, I'm going to say it again, we don't know, and I'd like to know. Second of all, where is Natsumore? Is he still going to go after these boys? We don't know. And Simon. We know nothing about Simon. Really, we don't, other than he's now the leader of the Kasarabi clan. Also, in this episode, we didn't get to see how they took out the fruit, which was the monster that appeared. That was kind of, I'm wondering, are we going to see that in the next episode? We don't know. And those talismans that Yoshino had, he picked from the temple, and the one that Muharo, I guess, had, but we don't get to see what he picked. What are they? Are they more rings, necklaces? What are they? We don't know. But those are my final thoughts right now. Rating-wise, I like this episode. There were no battle scenes, plain and simple, so I'm not going to give it a 5 out of 5. Now, it didn't stink. It was a pretty good episode, so I'm not going to give it a 3.5 out of 5. I'm going to give it a 4 out of 5, plain and simple. I want to give it a 4.5 out of 5 because there's a lot of information about the character's background, but I wasn't feeling it. Just wasn't all there. But the mystery story definitely allowed me to give this a 4 out of 5. So final rating for this, the rating I'm going to give it, 4 out of 5. That ends it for my walkthrough and review of Blast of Tempest Episode 4. And I don't think I'll be doing any more reviews or walkthroughs for the rest of the night, but definitely stay tuned for tomorrow. I feel One Piece is coming during the weekend, as well as JoJo's Bizarre Adventure, and the other animes I'll be covering. So stay tuned for those later on tomorrow and the next day after that. Before I go, I gotta say it. Can't stop the access, but you can watch the feed. I'll see you later, guys.